Trash. Just cut that. That was... What's up, everyone? Welcome to the first episode of Global Curiosities. My name's Eric Kearney, and if you guys haven't done so already, hit that subscribe button, hit the like button if you like this clip, and follow us on Instagram at Global Curiosities. You won't want to miss any of our content. Anywho, today, first episode, super excited. We're going to be going over the top 4 tips, tricks, and tools you need to have a spontaneous adventure. I don't know about you guys, but how many times have you been on a trip and you're like, you know what, we'll figure it out. You know what, oh, I want to do this super randomly, and it didn't turn out so well.
Well, this sucks.
It happens. It's happened to me, but you know what? It happens to me less and less the more I travel. That's because along the way, I've picked up these tools, tricks, and tips to help me make the best of any spontaneous situation. So let's set the scene for today's show. We're gonna be watching a clip, an example of me having my own spontaneous adventure this past winter in Paris. And what started off as a nice stroll to the Eiffel Tower ended up with me basically in rural Paris with no one around, having to hitchhike back. Yeah, quite an adventure. Think SpongeBob in Bedrock Bottom.
But sir, we need to get back to Bikini Bottom.
Oh well.
That was me. Let's set the scene for the clip. I'm sitting there in a bistro with my father, and we're having a glass of wine, and I look outside and it starts snowing. And I have a spontaneous thought. I'm like, oh my gosh, what would the Eiffel Tower look like in the snow? 1 hour walking through the snow to this, and I see it. It's right there. Almost there. Fuck! It's further than I thought it was. Shit! Still walking to the... What? Look at that! These two! What? Look at that! Oh, let's go. Come on, Eiffel Tower. Oh. I have 10 minutes to make the metro. But look at that! It's so beautiful. I'm gonna make it. It's closing soon. Almost there. I asked the homeless man. He said it's this way. I hope he's right. I found it. My beef bouillon is coming up, but I found it. The metro. Woo. I'm gonna give you spiritual. Apparently there's a connection that I didn't know about. Just made it. Oh! On our way. It's passing my stop. It closed at 1. No! There it is. That's where I need to go. 1 a.m. it goes back to the end of the line. No! I'm now taking a bus to my hotel. The police have directed me, and it is a couple blocks this way apparently. We'll see. I don't know any French, so hopefully this is what they meant. Okay. Let's see what happens. It said a 20-minute wait. Eric waits for no bus. We're fucking walking. Ugh, fuck. Okay. I've resorted to hitchhiking. There's not much cars, but my thumb is good. I'll get someone. I'll get someone. Yeah. I got someone. His name's Isham. Yeah. Let's go. He's gonna take me to my place. Yeah, with the car. Oh, in this car with your friend. Yeah. All right, here we go.
Ah, j'ai pas avancé. Mais les mchitens, c'est bon. Parce que toi, t'étais pas avancé, ouais.
Oh, you're getting married soon. There it is. Thank you guys.
Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Come here. Thanks, dude. Have a good night. Thank you. Bye. Just getting in the hotel. He's getting back.
Yeah, I got later than him.
He doesn't know what I went through. You don't realize what I just went through. You had fun. Quite an adventure. Very spontaneous and not what I thought would happen when I left that bistro for the Eiffel Tower. Let's jump into the 4 tips, tricks, and tools I use and I've picked up along the way of my travels to allow me to have these kind of spontaneous adventures. And number 1, guys, prepare for the worst. This can take on many forms. It can take on taking that extra cash with you when you leave the hotel or hostel. In this case, it was planning for the worst for the weather. Here's a quick pro tip that I've learned along the way. When you first get into a city and you're leaving the hotel, you're always gonna have that thought, should I bring whatever that is? If it's within your first 24 hours of any city, always bring it.
You must take it.
Always overplan. After the first 24 hours are over, after you're more familiar with the city, the people, or the environment, then you can make that decision. When I left that night for the bistro, I was not planning on having an adventure outside of me eating dinner. So guys, that's tip number 1, always plan for the worst. You never know where a spontaneous trip is gonna take you. I sure as heck did not. And that leads us into tip number 2. Always know where you are, always have an idea of your surroundings. And you know how you do that? Maps. Maps on maps, on maps on maps, okay? Guys, if you want to get off the beaten path, that's amazing, it's spontaneous, I love it, but you gotta find your way back to the path eventually. And a map allows you to do that. Pro tip though, after this, you wanna be circling a couple things on your map when you get one of these. Number 1, you wanna be circling where your exit is, your bus stop is, or your train stop, as well as where you are for one night. You can download it, the map, onto your phone. Google Maps allows you to access a map of a given city offline, so you don't need Wi-Fi. I personally prefer a physical map. It's always in my pocket. It's never gonna go dead on me, but that's another option. What's great about carrying a map is you don't even need to be able to speak the language. Guys, tip number 3, know how the city lives. Know when the people are going out, know when the people are going to bed who live in that city. It will change everything for having a spontaneous adventure. Let me tell you why. Because you are planning for the worst, and because you know your geography and have a map of the city, you're able to go out when no one is out. I had Paris to myself. I got to see the architecture with no loud noises and tourists around. And on the flip side, do your best also to go out when everyone in that city is going out. That way you can run into locals, and that changes everything. When you're able to talk with locals, they're able to give you tips of things to do or ideas of things to do that you could never have thought of or planned for. You can have your own spontaneous adventure just from a recommendation. I've done it so many times. Tip number 3, always know how the city lives. 4th and final tip, guys, don't be afraid to strike up a conversation. I can't tell you how important this is for all things. It ties into tip number 3. When you're out with the locals, don't be afraid to talk to them. Don't be afraid to ask for tips. Don't be afraid to ask for advice of what you should do. I can't tell you how many times I've ended up going out with locals to their own places. I did it in Paris. I was at this local bar. I don't think anyone spoke anything other than French in that bar, and it was a great experience. Additionally, if you're traveling, don't be afraid to talk to other travelers. In Paris, I met a woman, a phenomenal woman by the name of Melody, who's from Namibia. And we spent the whole day just walking around Paris, taking pictures and enjoying each other's company just because I said, hey, how you doing? Plan for the worst. Get geographical. Know how the city lives. Don't be afraid to strike up a conversation. I promise you guys, these things that you do will allow you to have a spontaneous adventure and do it successfully. Hope you enjoyed the 4 tips, tricks, and tools for spontaneous adventures. We want to hear from you though. Are there anything that your fellow travelers can learn from you? Let us know in the comments below. Also, be sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. We'd love it. Additionally, follow us on Instagram. We have great content coming out weekly, and we'd love to let to. How often do you see Paris in the snow?